Well, happy Friday, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here on UpNorthLive Unscripted. In case you missed our first episode yesterday, and you're watching maybe from ABC 29 and 8 on your TV, you might be thinking, okay, this is a little different from their normal ABC 6:30 show. And yes, that is correct. It is pretty different. This is a half hour of unscripted news. So we're still going to be talking about our most popular stories of the day, or trending stories, the ones with the biggest impact. But instead of us being behind our camera in the studio, reading from a teleprompter, I'm going to be here live in our digital studio. And we're going to be bringing in guests to kind of debrief stories even more. And really, our goal here is to get you more involved. So every day we'll start with a question of the day, and I'm going to put our question of the day up right now. So today's question is, should e-bikes be restricted to motorized pathways and road use? Now, this comes after there was a meeting yesterday with the DNR, and they are discussing. So right now, just to give you some background information, e-bikes are allowed on state park managed non-motorized trails. So trails that are paved, gravel, asphalt surfaces. But the DNR is looking to add natural surface non-motorized state park trails that are already open to bikes, to e-bikes as well. So right now the results 50-50. So be sure to scan the QR code on your screen right now and vote on our question of the day. And you can also leave a comment if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. And we really want this to be a discussion with everyone. So be sure to leave a comment, and we will go through and try to get as many of your comments on. We can, like I said, make this more of a discussion, but we're going to circle back to our question of the day in a bit. Right now, I want to bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. He is live in the Weather Center. Hey, Joe, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And
how is it open in there? How you doing? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear. Yep.
Good. So again, I kind of mentioned this yesterday, but for you folks watching, this is a new format, a new style. There are going to be a few bumps in the road. So, just be patient with us, but feel free to leave any feedback that you may have. Joe, we're heading into the weekend. Thank goodness. I know everyone is always so excited for the weekend. This weekend is, of course, Mother's Day. I know my mom is going to be in town. We're going to hopefully maybe go to some wineries, get outside if we can, weather permitting. How is it going to look this weekend?
Yeah, we're going to have to dodge some rain at times, especially tomorrow morning and afternoon. So I was looking at our weather cameras. I'll show you these coming up in Maine weather in a little bit, but it's really nice right now. But later tonight, we're going to get some rain coming in, Maya, and then we'll deal with some of the rain coming in tomorrow night, and then also on Sunday, a few showers around as well. So we'll kind of deal with that and see how that goes. But I'll have more on that coming up in Maine weather.
Awesome. And during Maine weather in just a few minutes, also, you can ask any questions you may have for Joe in our comments below. So Joe, we'll talk with you again in a few minutes. But okay. Now I want to kind of turn things over to a story that we have been covering since Tuesday, and that is, of course, the devastating tornadoes that touched down in Southwest Michigan on Tuesday night. There's still so much devastation and so much damage, but really the silver lining with things like this, and we saw this in Gaylord with the Gaylord tornadoes and the Gaylord community really coming together to support each other. Well, communities in Southwest Michigan are doing that as well. And Nate Brown, he's a reporter at our sister station down in Kalamazoo. He did a story on a Good Samaritan who's not even from Michigan, but he came to just show his support. And we're going to show you that story now. And then after, we're going to touch base with the chief meteorologist at WWMT, that is Keith Thompson. And he's going to talk a little bit about his experience watching and covering these tornadoes. But first, I want to turn things over to Nate Brown.
Suddenly Tuesday for those who call Oak Brook Estates home.
People were outside grabbing each other, hugging each other, saying, "Thank you, God, you're alive, we're here."
With many of those homes now needing plenty of work.
Needs a new roof and new siding.
And the damage was obvious.
Pulled in, I wasn't here but 30 minutes, and I saw a need.
Even to those who don't call Southwest Michigan home themselves.
And I'm like, you know what, this is where I'm going.
And that's exactly what Rudy Yoder did, making his way from Millersburg, Indiana.
The community isn't just the people that live here.
To prepare food for the victims and first responders of the tornado that ripped Portage apart.
I come from an hour from here, and I can do my part by, I may not have a crew to come clean up, but I can cook some food for the folks here, and that's what I want to do.
Coffee, donuts, and breakfast sandwiches in the morning, hot dogs, cheeseburgers, chips, and the like for the rest of the day.
So I just went to businesses, and they donated the food, and so they're like, you just go up and fix it now. So I'm just here to do my part and just to help out.
Hitting the road in his RV Thursday morning at 3:30 to come offer what he can.
They came around with flyers and said that there was some opportunity.
And we were just going down to get the mail. So I had to get out and talk to that fella because we're just so thankful he's here.
A meal, a smile, and hopefully make home start to feel like home again.
And that's what I want to do. I want to be part of that community and do my part.
Even if he's nowhere near his.
I want to inspire others to do the same thing, because that's what we do, is we help each other.
In Portage, this is Nate Brown reporting.
All right, and now I want to bring in Keith Thompson. He is the chief meteorologist with our sister station in Kalamazoo. Hi, Keith. How are you doing today?
Hi, doing great. Thank you very much. It's good to be with you. Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah.
Thanks so much for taking time to talk with us. And some of you folks watching may recognize Keith. He did fill in for Joe, probably about a year ago at this point, but he was with us for a week or so. So good to see you again, Keith.
It's good to see you again, too. And good to see a friendly face there who I remember so well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know it's been a very busy week for you, to say the least. And, we've been seeing so much just devastating video and photos of the tornadoes that touched down on Tuesday. You, of course, were working. So can you kind of just walk us through from your perspective? Give us a little behind the scenes of what it was like for you to track these storms and to have to forecast and report on them.
Yeah, well, you know what? I will say this. I've been here 35 years, and there's been nothing like it in the time that I've been here. You don't know going into the day that it's going to be something like this, where there's going to be multiple tornadoes that are going to be sort of dancing around the area. Of course, you were talking there about Nate Brown, and that's the Portage area. We also had tornadoes as well in a county just to the south of Kalamazoo County in St. Joe County that moved over into Branch County as well. And so that kind of activity all happening simultaneously haven't had. Now, we were prepared for it. We knew that there was going to be the potential for some severe weather. So I was joined by a fellow meteorologist we have on staff here, Colin Rogers. And so when the first warnings started popping up, I'm not going to say we weren't ready for them, but I don't think that we were ready for what was going to be coming over the next couple of 3 hours. We were on the air solidly for 4 hours there. And so it was just a matter of going into that coverage mode. And I also want to give a tip of the cap to the National Weather Service meteorologists as well, who put out some wonderful informational pieces for us to use. It was great tracking along with them. And then also weather spotters who were invaluable, because I think that's where we first got an idea with some eyes as to just how dangerous this tornado was that was coming through Kalamazoo County.
Sure. And so, like I said, we've all seen the devastating photos and videos. Did you see everything in person?
You know what? As you know, whenever you're involved in something like that and you're in the studio, you're not really aware of what's going on outside of the building. But as we had reporters that were on the scene within an hour or so after the tornado went through, for example, the Kalamazoo area, and you started to see it, I think it just sort of made the impact there that it's like, this really happened. But as far as like during the event, I really didn't see what was going on. As you know, when you're in the studio, there are no windows. You can't see outside. And so we were tracking things and we were hearing about things, but to actually see it certainly made a bit of a different impact.
Sure. And of course, there's still a long way to go in terms of recovery and the pickup and everything. But, Nate really touched on this in his story that he did. And I kind of mentioned we saw a lot of this with the Gaylord tornado as well, and the community coming together to be Gaylord strong. So I guess, have you seen other instances of people just really coming together to support each other and to just help each other pick up the pieces?
Yeah, and I'm sure, like you said, I'm sure that the same thing happened in Gaylord with that tornado there, because it really does take a lot of people pitching in to make the recovery effort work. And we are seeing that here. We are 2-3 days past now the tornado, but there's still cleanup to be done. A lot of times I think in the news cycle, we move on to the next story. What's next? Yeah. But of course, the cleanup is continuing. And just as it did in Gaylord, I'm sure it's going to take weeks, if not more, to clean everything up. And so we're going to continue to see, just like we did today, there are more stories coming out where teachers were helping teachers, for example. That was a story that we did today. People showing up and just saying, I have a vest, give me something to do. And then they were taken someplace where they could help. That's the kind of community effort that we're seeing here. And a good thing, because there's so much to be done. But that means every day, I think there's not only going to be things that need to be done, but there are going to be more stories to be told about folks who are coming out to help.
Definitely. And so you mentioned this right away, that you've obviously been a meteorologist for quite some time. And you said that this is a storm that you haven't really experienced something like this before.
No, certainly not here. And, we typically don't have strong tornadoes that are long track, that are on the ground. In this case, it was on the ground for 11 miles. And for us, that's a longer track. Just like what happened in Gaylord. It's like, we don't usually see that kind of stuff in this part of the state. And so it was the first time to have multiples like that. Now, coming up next Monday, it's going to be the 44th anniversary of the tornado in Kalamazoo that actually killed 5. And so we are very close to an anniversary that reminds us of what can happen here. But fortunately, in this case, I wasn't there for that one. That was a little before my time. But fortunately, in this particular storm, we didn't have any casualties like that. And I think that says something as well about advances in science and technology and our ability to communicate. And fortunately, people paying attention as well. I know that saved lives.
Absolutely. And that really is the best thing about this whole situation. Is sure, there were some injuries, but the fact that there were no fatalities is just amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And because I know it's trite and I know it's been said so many times, but in a situation like this, it's so true that things can be put back together, things can be rebuilt, but we don't want to lose anybody in something like this.
Absolutely. Anything else, Keith, that you want people to know just about your experience tracking and forecasting this type of storm?
I would say this. I am so glad that people paid attention to the warnings. I think sometimes as somebody who's issuing warnings, you don't know whether people are paying attention. We have heard so many stories of people who were in the path of this tornado who said, we were in the basement, we were taking cover, and it's a good thing because, of course, we don't know what the outcome would have been. But I do believe that because people were paying attention and taking the necessary action, I think that there were lives that were saved. And that's the one message I would have going forward is pay attention and do what you know to do to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Well, Keith, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your experience on this tragic event that could have been a lot more tragic had people not listened to those messages. So thanks again, and we will see you here next time.
Thanks again to you, Maya, and good to see you again.
You as well. Take care. All right, we're going to take a short break. I'm going to put our question of the day back up on the screen. But when we come back, we're going to check back in with Joe Charlevoix about our weather here in northern Michigan. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. I just took our question of the day down. We're going to circle back to that a little bit later. But right now, I do want to bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix from the Storm Team Weather Center. And Joe, we talked a little bit about what we can expect this weekend, but maybe let's go into a little more detail about exactly what's going to happen, shall we?
Yeah, so we'll take a look at the weather. It's been a nice day today. I was looking at our weather cameras, and it's a nice evening. Everyone's talking though about the chance tonight to see the northern lights, Maya.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem we have here is we're going to be running kind of against. It appears some cloud cover coming in as we go through the evening here. So, depending on when that cloud cover gets here, that's the key question that we're going to have with regard to seeing the northern lights. Because I've had I'm looking at my emails here. I had a number of emails of people asking about that. By the way, I was going to ask you, Maya, have you ever seen the northern lights yourself?
I saw them once, just a few months ago.
Yeah, I think, wasn't that your first time?
My first time. It was so cool. It was after work, so it was right around midnight, and I went to Leland to watch them, and it was awesome. I didn't know that. I didn't see them too much in person. It was more like once I took a picture, and then I saw all the different colors. I didn't realize that you don't usually, or maybe you don't always see all the colors just with your eyes. Sometimes you need your phone to kind of show that a little more, but it was still so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with, let me see if I can share the screen here so I can give you a little idea what we're looking at. Can you see it, Maya?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, so that's right now. And yeah, if you look at Petoskey right now, beautiful blue skies, Cadillac, couple clouds overhead, same thing there at Houghton Lake and also Traverse City. The northern lights, there is the chance to see them tonight, and we have G1 to G4 geomagnetic levels. G4 is near the top end of the spectrum. That is a strong to severe storm level coming in off the sun, these geomagnetic storms. That will peak late tonight. The problem for us, though, is the cloud cover that is on the way in. Here's a look at radar right now. And you see the rain. Now, most of northern Michigan is still pretty quiet, but the clouds are really starting to approach now, reaching the Lake Michigan shoreline. We also have some rain back across the western portions of the UP. So if we look at the cloud cover, things fairly clear right now, but I'll run this out through about 10:30, and you can see skies are pretty cloudy by 11 o'clock. The other issue with regard to seeing the northern lights here in northern Michigan is the sun doesn't go down until around 9 o'clock.
Right.
So it's still kind of bright through 9:30, 9:45 before eventually it gets dark enough, but by then we might be cloudy tonight, Maya.
Okay,
So,
it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, a little bit of a bummer on that. Here's why we have some rain coming in, though. Low pressure sits way up there north of Duluth, Minnesota tonight, up there in the Arrowhead of Minnesota. That's going to drop in right over us. So again, once we get past midnight tonight, that's when we'll start seeing some rain coming in. Here's a look at the timing on that. That's around midnight, 1 o'clock. There's the rain. And then low pressure will kind of close off. You can kind of see the spin there right over northern Michigan tomorrow morning. This is around 8 o'clock. So it is going to be a bit wet for several spots in the morning. Closer to Lake Michigan, the rain will end 2, 3 o'clock. But if you're over around Alpena, south toward Mayo, up toward Drummond Island, the rain's going to continue there into the afternoon before coming to an end there. Tomorrow night, we clear things out, and then here comes system number 2 for the weekend with some showers during the day on Sunday, right there. So, of course, that is Mother's Day. It's not going to rain all day. It won't be widespread, and it won't be very heavy, but there will be some showers at times on Sunday. Some of you are going to get a little bit of rain. And then Sunday evening, another front comes in, and right here, that's 6, 7 o'clock Sunday night. Looks like a little line of thunderstorms expected to cross through. So we have rain tonight, Maya, part of tomorrow, and then that second system coming in Sunday through Sunday night. And if you're wondering, well, how much rain are we looking at tonight and tomorrow? Right there, about a half inch or so where you see the blue shaded areas, maybe Gaylord, Traverse City, closing in perhaps on an inch of rain tonight through tomorrow. One other event we have going on, a pretty big one too, is the Mesic Mushroom Festival. And there's a look at, that was our drone video we had earlier today. We're getting things set up there. But tomorrow, upper 50s there. That's in Wexford County. If you're looking for something to do tomorrow, no all day rain, but some passing showers around tomorrow. And then a few showers around Sunday. High Sunday will sit right around 70 degrees. And I'll give you one more look at the weekend, just in general. Tomorrow, passing morning rain, diminishing later in the day, and then some late afternoon sunshine possible. A little cool though, 49 to 59. And then Sunday, there's Mother's Day, 60s to around 70, a few passing rain showers. But Sunday's going to be warmer, and then that chance for a few evening thunderstorms.
All right. Well, Joe, thank you so much for that. We are going to take one more break, but when we come back, we're going to check in with our sports director, Harrison Beebe, to see what he's up to today. Stay with us. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. I'm going to bring in our sports director, Harrison Beebe, now live in our newsroom. Harrison, we don't have a ton of time because Joe just likes to talk about weather a lot. So in about a minute, can you kind of walk us through what you're doing today?
Maya, I'm used to being condensed, obviously, sports at the end of the show. We got to get our stuff in fast. And the big story today, MHSA announcing a lot of changes coming for the next few years for high school sports. The biggest addition, they're adding 2 new varsity sports. It's the first time they've done that in 20 years. When they added lacrosse 20 years ago, they're going to add girls field hockey beginning in the fall of 2025, and boys volleyball will get going in the spring of 2026. So that's kind of cool. And it kind of relates to the video we're showing is girls lacrosse here. The lacrosse field up in northern Michigan is expanding for the first time in the past couple of years. Girls making their debut. Shifting to basketball and winter sports as a whole, it's a big deal. They're going to adjust the winter schedules going forward so that teams won't kind of condense with spring break at the end of March every year. It's always been an issue for teams making a run to the state finals. They have to kind of rearrange spring break plans on the fly. MHSA finally listening to those And wrestling, girls wrestling, I think this is the coolest part. They're finally going to get a team state championship to wrestle for. It'll be at the individual finals, but the girls will compete, and the best girls individual finishes combined for a school will then be crowned state champions, which I think is pretty awesome at the end of the day. More information about these changes on our website right now, UpNorthLive.com.
And tonight at 11 o'clock in sports.
Yes, that too.
Yep, so stay tuned for that. All right, thank you, Harrison. We are going to take another break, but when we come back, we'll look at our live results for our question of the day. Stay with us. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted. All right, we're going to take one last look at our question of the day. Should e-bikes be restricted to motorized pathways and road use? Right now, 48% say yes, 52% say no. You can still vote. Just scan that QR code on your screen right now. But that'll do it for our second Up North Live Unscripted show. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great weekend and happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. Take care.